In the booth? Okay. All right, I'm going to call to order this meeting of the Kingston Planning Board, Monday, March 10th, 2025, at 7 p.m. My mic is on. Is it on? Okay. We'll start with a roll call.
Alexander Graham, present.
Dave Gavigan.
Bob Gosling.
Jonathan Barnett.
Dave Gleason.
Okay. We'll go right to our public hearing at 7:01.
The planning board will hold a public hearing on Monday, March 10th, 2025, at 7:01 p.m. at the Kingston Townhouse, Room 200, 26 Evergreen Street, Kingston, Massachusetts, to present and discuss an article for action at the 2025 annual town meeting, which proposes to see if the town will vote to amend the Town of Kingston zoning bylaws, Section 2, definitions, Section 2.2, defined terms in order to add, within the accessory related terms, amend accessory housing unit and add new definitions of protected accessory housing unit and unprotected accessory housing unit, and by modifying Section 5 use regulations table of uses by changing SPPB to a reference to footnote 4 in columns R20, R40, R80, TC, C, and 3A, DD, and by modifying Section 7.8 residential accessory housing units, Section 7.8.1, purpose to strike out the first sentence in Part D and E, and Section 7.8.2, applicability to insert new subparagraph A, 1.4, regarding protected attached accessory dwelling units, and to alter now subparagraph B to insert language regarding unprotected attached or detached accessory housing unit, and to Section 7.8.3, review criteria to insert language for unprotected attached or detached accessory housing unit, or take any other action relative thereto. Said changes are proposed to address new state zoning and regulations relative to accessory housing units. Any person interested and desiring to comment on these items should appear at the time and place designated above. The complete text and any pertinent maps are on file and available for inspection at the town clerk's office, room 102, 26 Evergreen Street, Kingston.
All right, thanks, Alex. Val, you want to speak to this?
Yeah, I thought that the legal ad was self-explanatory, just kidding. So I have a PowerPoint I thought I'd share with everyone if I can. Why is it disagreeing with me? It's disagreeing with me again. Wow, okay. Doesn't want to share a screen. Oh, there we go. Found it. Is it showing? Your battery's low. We're having technical difficulties, but they're being worked on at this moment.
I think the town, it's projecting. It's just we can't see it.
Oh, okay.
I think the projector is what's not working now, right?
Because the projector's not working, it may look like it's... It looks perfect on TV, but for us, it's not at the moment. It's not on there. It's on her phone.
you guys working out or something?
Why?
Did you get the jump scene?
This is my day job.
Oh, it's doing something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
25 degrees.
Strength
Snow
coach
and
for 35 years.
Today, 61 degrees. Oh, excited t-shirt.
There it is.
Mostly kids.
That's fantastic.
I owned a gym in Peru for 16 years.
Just say Julian.
I didn't know that. That's
We
awesome. Just take the
downsized
kids
because
out.
it was
Crazy.
COVID
They don't have
killed
any-
me. Like the stress, trying to keep it all in one yard, getting it. So we downsized, now I just train out of our garage.
That's awesome. Way less stress, right?
Way
Skiing.
less.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't scale
Like a
it to
ridge and
the size of the gym, but
Oh, wow.
now at least I have some control.
That's provided.
So your Zoom is already showing up on
That's
the
awesome,
camera.
dude. That's so cool.
Okay, can people see it all right?
Yeah, it's pretty much all I've ever
Okay.
done.
All right, so
I love that.
I'm ready to start if you
Ready to
guys
go?
are.
All right, we're ready.
Okay. So the accessory dwelling unit law changed in February in Massachusetts. And what happened is the state decided that it would make accessory dwelling units allowable by right. So, let's try to get this working. There's so many different screens on here. So just want to remind everybody what an accessory dwelling unit is, and that's the yellow on this screen. We went over this when we updated our bylaw last spring. It can be an attached or detached, meaning it's either physically attached to the house by being part of the roof, maybe over the garage, maybe attached to the side of the house, maybe a converted basement, or even converting the garage. Or detached, it's a standalone structure on the lot. And they're always accessory to the main house. Any questions on that? Okay. So the new state law and the regulations are allowing by right in certain situations. And specifically, the ADU has to be half the habitable floor area of the principal dwelling, or 900 square feet, whichever is smaller. And those are called protected ADUs in the new zoning. So that means that if you have something that's 900 square feet or smaller, you could go to the building department and say, I want to pull a building permit for my ADU that I'm going to build. And we then need to honor that request because that's the new state law. There are some exceptions, and I'll walk through those briefly, but the main thing is that we can regulate them a little bit. And the main thing is we can say that they can't be short-term rentals, and we can also limit the setbacks and some of the dimensional standards. But there's a lot of restrictions on us doing much with them. But the only reason we're doing this and adding this to our zoning bylaw is so that we can regulate them a little bit. So what we're proposing to do is add this new state-protected ADU into our bylaw and have setbacks, lot coverage, height, and open space requirements of the lot covered by our zoning bylaw and not allow the short-term rentals. That's what we're allowed to do, and we know we can do under the new regulations. So now I want to refer back to the special permit ADUs, which we adopted at the last town meeting in 2024 in the spring. Nothing's changing with that. It's still a minimum lot size, 20,000 square feet. It could be R20, R40, R80, 3A, design district, town center, and commercial districts, only on lots where the primary use is residential as of last spring town meeting. The by right protected ADUs aren't allowed in the commercial district because they're only allowed in places where a single-family dwelling would be allowed. So they're allowed in all these other places, though. And on the special permit, a parking for the ADU must be provided on the site. Under the state regulations, you can have no parking space if you're within a half mile of, say, the MBTA station. And we can't require parking in that situation. Other technical difficulties?
No, no, we're just checking.
Oh, okay. So you'll see a few clarifications in the language, but those are minor. Instead of calling them protected accessory, I'm sorry, it's hard to concentrate. Okay. Instead of calling them protected accessory housing units, we're going to call them ADUs to be consistent with the state law throughout. So you'll see them called unprotected ADUs. There's some clarifications inserted by council this time around, just to clarify the intent. We took out the language that we had put in 2024 about setbacks because in talking with town council and looking at it, we felt that it was actually kind of confusing to repeat the setbacks information that's already in the zoning. So we're just going to refer to the zoning and not repeat it, and it's less confusing that way. And then we decide to identify what we meant by a temporary absence being allowed when it's owner occupied, being something like you're being called away for military duty, for example, just to help clarify that a little bit. But we're not changing anything that we adopted at the Springtown meeting. So all ADUs, whether they're protected or unprotected, can't be used as a short-term rental, are subject to the height, coverage, open space on a lot, and setback requirements in the zoning bylaw, can be attached or detached, must be on the same property as the primary dwelling. They have a separate entrance, and because the state law doesn't, the state regulations don't define a minimum, they just say up to 900 square feet or half the size of the principal dwelling, whichever is smaller. We just want to make clear that you can't go to itty-bitty tiny closet and call that an accessory dwelling unit. There is another law that dictates minimum standards of fitness for human habitation, which say how many square feet, how much height, and different things that are required for an accessory dwelling unit in order to comply with that law. So there is a minimum, it's just not in the zoning that the state adopted. So we're just kind of making sure we've tucked in those protected ADUs and regulating them a little bit. So
Do we have this minimum in our bylaws?
we have a minimum of 350 square feet in our bylaw.
Okay. That's what I was looking for.
Okay. So we defined a protected and an unprotected ADU, and then just carried the language I just talked about into the language that's in front of you there, and that's what we are proposing for the warrant.
Where does it say about the minimum in here?
About the which?
Where does it mention the minimum in here?
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
The minimum?
The minimum here, it doesn't. And, I don't have what we adopted last year. It's in the zoning.
Oh, it is though?
It's already in the
Okay,
zoning.
it's just not in this.
It's not in the, it is in this.
That's what I was looking for.
Okay.
Maybe I just missed it.
It's number G, under 7.8.3.
Oh, gotcha, sorry.
Okay.
The only other question I have is, they allow for multiple detached as well, correct?
They only allow one per lot, and anything above that, the town can require a special permit.
But they do allow it.
No, they don't.
Oh, the state doesn't.
Right. They only allow one per lot. So if you had a multifamily dwelling, say a 3-family house, and one of those people wanted to put out a detached accessory dwelling unit, if they get there first, it's theirs. The other 2 people don't get that protected one. After that, it would be a special permit.
But we can't approve it.
We can approve it as a special permit.
Gotcha.
Now, in our zoning, what gets a little tricky is our zoning says only one per lot under a special permit. So what our bylaw says, 1 by right and 1 by special permit. So you're not going to get more than 2 in Kingston.
Because I was talking to a building inspector in another town, and he's under the impression that people can keep coming back and requesting them after the fact.
Only if they have, a town may say, go ahead, build as many as you want, but that's not what the state's requiring. The state's saying 1 per lot.
I thought it was kind of strange. So,
Yeah, I don't believe that a town would normally do that.
Yeah.
We're not going to do that.
Good.
So there's no one in the audience, and I don't see anyone on the screen. So perhaps if there's no more discussion, we would want to close the public hearing.
Does anybody have any discussion? No? Okay. All right, can anyone make a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we have motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of closing the public hearing, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, so public hearing's closed. We just have to vote on. The vote is to,
Support the
Recommend, right?
language. Yeah, recommend the language to town meeting as written.
Mr. Gleason, you could make that motion if you wanted to.
I'll make a motion to accept it as it's written for the town meeting.
Okay.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, we got a motion to recommend this zoning article, town meeting. We have a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Yep,
Thank you.
that's done. Looks like you got your first official act.
Besides a vote, yes. Besides a vote, yes.
Yes. All right, so the next thing on our agenda is an A and R, approval not required, off Indian Pond Road, map 80, lot 52-4. Val, you want to speak to that?
Sure, I'm going to share my screen again. So you can see this plan is a large wetland that doesn't have any frontage, and it's an unbuildable wetland lot. And according to the applicant, they want to split it down the middle, roughly, so that their liability goes down in terms of their insurance. So there's really no buildable lot being created, but they're splitting an unbuildable lot into 2 unbuildable lots for insurance purposes. So I don't see any issues with it.
Okay. Okay. So Dave cannot vote on this. So we need a motion to endorse the approval not required. Unless there's any discussion.
So we're creating 80-52-6.
Out of,
That's the only line I see.
well, yeah, and you have your remaining lot, 8052-4.
Right.
And so you're splitting off right to create a second lot that's smaller, that was a part of that bigger lot, called 80-52-6.
I'll make a motion to endorse as presented.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion, we have a second to endorse the A and R. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Zero.
I had a comment I wanted to make, if I may. We received word from the Attorney General today that our MBTA zoning was approved. So we've got both the housing at the state and the Attorney General's approval, so we're officially
Nice.
in compliance.
Nice job, Val.
Thanks to everybody, yeah. So that's good news.
The only thing we have left is the minutes of February 24th.
Make a motion to approve the meeting minutes of February 24th, 2025 as presented.
Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second by Alex, so we have a motion, we have a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the minutes of February 24th, 2025, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, that's done, and we're all here. Yep.
So our next meeting is going to be on March 24th, and at that meeting, we have additional public hearing for zoning articles. And if I can, just, one of them is related to a housekeeping issue where we've discovered a fault in the recodification that was done, an accidental oversight, but we actually have a lot of disallowed uses that should be allowed. So we want to make that correction, and I'll walk you through that at the hearing next week. And then we also have the MURAD, which is the mixed-use redevelopment overlay district, which is pretty much the mall property. There's as I mentioned at the last meeting, the town is looking to work with the mall ownership, and there's a possibility of a fuel station being located at the edge of that overlay district next to the fire station. So we wanted to make a tweak to the zoning maps and put the gas station use as a mixed use, as a special permit from the planning board, because all the permits for the mall have been through the planning board. So with, usually a fuel station would be the ZBA. But the reason for this switch is to make it so that the planning board, because you have such a broad understanding of all the different permits that have been issued, plus the MBTA zoning, cleaner if we do it this way. So we'll see a zoning map change and then to the zoning at the next meeting, which is March.
What do they want to do, put a gas station there?
Possibly, yes. Outside of the water resources protection overlay district. It's outside of that district. It's groundwater moves in the opposite direction from the wells, from where they're thinking about putting it. And most of it's in what they already have for that zoning overlay district, but there's a little tweak we want to make. And I believe that their attorney will be here to help represent that.
Whereabouts do they want to put it?
Right next to the fire station. Well,
Oh, it would have to be.
if you're coming away from the fire station and heading towards Plymouth on that road, it would be on your left, yes,
Would they
that'd be
been-
class fire station.
Where they were trimming all, keeping all the trees trimmed back.
The trees are
on the
trimmed
corner-
back.
On that corner.
Yeah, and one of the issues everybody has is when you're coming around the corner going the other way, heading away from Plymouth, and the mall's on your left as you drive down that road, when you start to approach the signals, there's no visibility. And so the idea would include leveling off the hill so that you can see the signals as you're making that turn, which will be a lot safer for everybody. So that's part of this. That'll be at the next hearing. So I just wanted to make sure everybody knew there's more zoning to come. The warrant closes the following night, so we want to make sure we are prepared, we have enough numbers to recommend it to town meeting and place. Great, thank you.
Anything else now?
I don't have any.
Okay.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn, okay. We
Second.
have motion, we have a second, it's not debatable. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Thank you.